So we've established our half guard position, and we've been able to, you know, obviously escape mount from that low grapevine position, and now we've got both legs around one of Jay's legs. Okay, we are flat back, so anytime we're flat back, we are risking that top person being able to have lots of weight on top of us, because it's a lot easier to distribute a greater surface mass of his weight or across a greater surface mass of my weight. I don't know. Makes sense. So, but I'll control the leg. Okay, Jay's going to go nice and low. Okay, and he's going to try and crush me a little bit. Okay, chest. That's it, into this position. So he's trying to stop me and prevent me from getting out on my butt. Okay, so he may have hit his underhook in this position, which is absolutely fine. Okay, doesn't prevent my hip turning, but it certainly stops me from getting out. Okay, so what we need to do now, is especially if you get this crushing pressure on top, is we need to get rid of this. All right, so we're going to go into what's called a lockdown position. Okay, typically when we do a half guard, the leg on the inside goes around and out, and the leg on the outside just kind of triangles or does stuff. This is typically what happens because it just feels natural. Okay, we're going to do the opposite. Okay, so I'm going to take the outside leg. That's going to be the leg that goes across, and the inside leg is going to go underneath the foot. Now, watch what happens to Jay's weight. See how it comes up. So we start creating a little bit of pressure across the calf. When you start getting, when you go with people who've done this a lot, you're never going to tap them. Okay, you're just going to move them. Okay, but the first couple of times you feel that, you know, it's quite tight on the calf and you get a lot of pressure, so you may want to tap just because you don't understand or you've never really, you know, felt that, which is cool. Okay, as well as his weight going back, I now start getting some gaps to pummel under and get my underhooks, which is key. We're always fighting for underhooks because underhooks are what? King. Yeah, underhooks are king. Okay, so hands are going to go to the armpits, and we're going to now bring our knees to nose. Okay, and that's where we're going to just finish off and get into that position. Okay, so I'm in my half guard. He's hit his underhook, so it's really hard for me to get out on my hip. Okay, outside leg comes in. You can do this, don't do it too often because it gets boring, but I'm going to get my heel, I'm going to dig it into his calf and slide down his calf. Yeah, that helps create a bit of a gap, and it can be quite painful as well, especially if you've got tight calves. Yeah, hook. Make sure you feel that body move away. Hit your underhooks, and then knees to nose, floating like he's a ballet dancer. Alright? Let's just get to that position to start off with. Give it a go. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So same sort of deal. It's crushed. He's got all that weight on top of me. Yeah, I've got that leg coming on the inside. If you're struggling, because sometimes you see how Jay's kind of hiding his heel, so he's got his foot on this angle. Yeah, there's a bit of work to do. So this is where I get my heel of my foot into the calf, and then I start digging and straightening that leg out. Okay, so he hides the foot because he knows I'm going to start looking for my lockdown position, because I've really no other options from this position apart from pushing his head. Keeps his head super tight, that kind of kills the push as well. Yeah, so I'm going to now start looking at just digging that calf in, yeah, to straighten the leg, to give me the option to go into a lockdown position. Once we're in lockdown position, some of us are kind of naturally doing this already. Some of us are training with BJJ brown belts, so we're already into the next bit. Okay, I'm going to straighten my leg out. Same thing, I need to feel that pressure come off. Arms on the inside. As I bring him into that ballet dancer position, I'm going to take him over to the opposite side of the lockdown. Okay, because this is what's going to create the gap and give me the opportunity to get out. Okay, so here, instead of just going straight forward, I'm going to go out to the side. Yeah, still keeping my lockdown at this point. Yeah, my hands in this position. I'm going to switch the far arm, put it into the armpit. So we do like a Brock Lesnar straight arm. So it's a little harder for him to start walking his hands back. If I don't, he'll just walk his hands back and then flatten down again, okay? Which obviously we don't want, because we've had to fight to get into this position. So when we ballet dancer into here, switch that hand onto the outside, and it's at this point we can now unhook the legs, okay? So we don't really need this as an insurance policy. So I'm gonna just start turning my hip out, start looking, just come round and take the back. Okay, that makes sense? Give it a go. Yeah, he's got that pressure, dug that foot in, found the position, straightened the leg out, got that hip going back, created the opportunity to get my underhooks, arms into the armpit. Still going into the same position where I'm going to take the arm across. I never go across this way, okay? I'll fight like hell not to do this because there are some options, but as soon as I take him to the same side as here, my legs are kind of tied up, okay? So it's always going to be harder to transition into things. It's possible, but it's always a lot harder, okay? So we can start looking to, maybe look for a leg lock position or something like that. But I always find it hard to keep this position, okay? So we're just going to focus on the opposite side to the lockdown. Whip that leg up into here, okay? So Jay may start moving his hips backwards. Just then straighten that leg out again. So if he starts walking his hands back so that his butt goes down, I straighten that lockdown out again, okay? So I get to here, I've whipped him up. He can't come into me because of the hand, but he can go backwards. And as soon as I feel that, I go back to that lockdown, okay? As I feel his weight go back, I also have an option to now start looking to attack for a calf slicer, okay? So all I'm going to do is grab the toes and just pull that in, okay? But I have to feel his hips going back. Okay, so what we're going to do now, same thing, get into lockdown, all the good stuff, got the weight back into here. I've posted into my Lesnar, but it starts moving his hips backwards. Straighten that leg, come through, into your calf slicer. Okay, give it a go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, for whatever reason, and sometimes when we take the person out to here, he'll post really hard on this arm and then start walking back to straighten himself up. We might have to go to the other side, yeah, and start going to the what's not the great side. Okay, so if we just come back this way a little bit, guys, you've come a bit closer as well. So, thank you. Yeah, we've now ended up on the kind of weaker side of getting out of the position. So I'll take the arm across into here, and I'm still keeping the post. Okay, so I'm still going to switch my hand so that this is my post hand. From this position, I need to bring this knee up, okay? So I'm still going to control the leg, but I'm going to unhook, yeah? I'm going to bring this leg round here and this knee up. So I end up in like our leg lock position, which we did a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so from there, this knee comes into here and acts as a shield. So this is kind of like a barrier. So when I let go, if Jason starts trying to come back over, I'm using this shin as a bit of a shield. And then we're just going to get into this leg lock position, and we'll have a look at how we finish the leg lock in a second. Okay. More time. So. Straight across there. Damn it, it was moving across here. Yeah, post that hand. Just grab the leg. The important stuff's there. What I do with my legs and getting me into the position. Okay, so this knee underneath is going to come. That's my block, and this keeps control of the hip. That makes sense? And then we'll level.